Today, today we are talking about David versus Goliath, the legendary story that everybody knows. David versus Goliath involves many factors, not just the blessing of the Lord. Most people know the story about the underdog, the small David against the giant Goliath. And he wins with a sling, a simple shepherd weapon. But what most people don't realize is, at that time, there was no recording of bow and arrows. The first record of bows and arrows is the son of Saul, Jonathan. He's the first archer ever recorded in the Bible. After that, you got many arrows, many records of archery. But before that, nothing. Jonathan is the first recorded archer. So projectile weapon is relatively new at that time. The first ever recorded use of sling is at Judges 20, verse 16, where the Benjamite fight between Israel during the Judges' time. There are 700 people with left-handed slingers that have unreal accuracy. That's the first ever recorded projectile weapon user fighter in the Bible. What you must understand is most of the fight at the time were fought hand to hand. Okay? So if we read carefully, Goliath is the classic example of a melee combatant. He got a javelin, a spear, and a sword. All close-range weapon. His longest reach is his spear. Javelin that you can throw actually, but throwing javelin is not that far, at least compared to the sling. Now, Saul is a big man, okay? He's taller from the neck up to the average Israelite. So he probably around 180 centimeter, because people at that time maybe 150, they're kind of small. But Goliath is 3-meter giant. Every single recording of this guy is somewhat 2.5 to 3 meter plus. He is not human by any means.
He's just about 180.
David is small guy, probably 150. Yeah, he's a small guy, and he was a boy still at the time, not even a mature man yet. Saul was a seasoned fighter warrior with his brothers. They're seasoned warrior. Now
in the Bible, it said about, written about which it, the age of David at that time.
No.
Is about 15, 16?
Maybe. It's not clear, but we know he's a boy because he was taxed to bring his brothers lunch. No, the only reason why he met the brothers and saw when he was fighting Goliath is because he's delivering lunch to his brothers. So we know he's the errand boy. He's a young boy, not yet mature enough to join the battlefield, because 3 of his brothers already joined as Saul's army, okay, like the commanding people of Saul. So we know he come from a military family background, because 3 of his brothers already joined the military. So he's not alienated to the idea of war and fighting, but he was a boy. So everyone have his doubt. But King Saul seriously doubt his ability because he was a boy. He is not that big, not that powerful, not that sturdy, yet he offer King Saul to defeat this giant of Philistine, which is the undefeated champion. Why? Because he got a shield bearer. You see, the record say when Goliath shows up, there is a guy in front of him carrying his shield. That is an honorable position. Only like the greatest general have that shield bearer. If you look at the literature like ancient China, ancient Japan, the generals never carry their own weapon. They always have someone to carry their own weapon, to hand him over in battlefield. So we know Goliath is a general and a very high ranking in this manner. Because there is some guy who actually carry his shield, which is, I believe, huge, because it's so big.
Very heavy also.
Yeah, ridiculously heavy actually. Because if you, I done the calculation but I forgot. Like his armor is like 60, 70 kilos. and his spear is like 10 kilos. It's ridiculous. Like now, no normal human can carry that much weight.
60, 70 kilo, one shield.
No, his armor,
Okay.
not including the shield and everything. Okay, he carrying somewhere around 100 kilos in total, with everything, weapon, shield, and everything. So it's the weight that will crush a normal human being, basically. And this guy can still fight with that much weight. This guy is no joke. Within his range, everything is obliterated because he's so strong. But this is the real key to the victory of David. King Saul somehow got caught up in the heat of the battle. See, when Goliath shows himself and he insulted the Israelites, right? King Saul somehow want to fight him in his game as a melee combatant, which is you can never win because he wins in everything. He's bigger, stronger, faster, and everything, right? But David have a very level-headed. With his innovation, which is the sling, not that common yet at that time, he actually shake the game up. He didn't fight Goliath in his game. He fought Goliath in David's game. Instead of charging forward and fight Goliath in Goliath range, he stepped down and fight Goliath in his range, which is several, 10, 20 times further than melee combatant. Because see, the sling world record is 400 meter. Recorded sling world record, modern time, 400 meters. Now the longest javelin throw, Olympic, is only 200 meters. So that's Olympic throw. At that time, nobody's throw the javelin like that. So it's much, much shorter distance. But still, like the sling is 100 meter plus. So David got distinct advantage, like 100%. Huh?
It's not about 10 meters, 20 meters, it's 100.
It's in the hundreds of meters now, but at that time, no athlete yet, right?
No, I mean, the length between David and Goliath is about 100 meters and not 10.
No. Maybe in the 10, 20 meters, but it is beyond the reach of the javelin throw of Goliath. Basically, David is in his range. He's safe. Goliath cannot touch him. He can touch Goliath. So he keep his cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's very calm. And you can see how cool he is. Like when King Saul saw him, wow, you're a shepherd boy. You got nothing but your clothes and a stick and a sling. He gave David his armor and his sword to equip David, right? David tried it on first. He tried it on. It's not like, oh, thank you, King. Oh, this is mine. No, he tried it on. He cannot move as he should be. He knows his ability. So he's very level. He knows his ability. He knows his power. So he knows his strong point and strength and weaknesses. Okay, he knows his strength and his weaknesses. He will not accept anything that weakens him. In this case, the armor of King Saul weighed him down, so he cannot run as fast. Maybe it also hindered his throwing. With his style of throwing, I don't know the technical of how he throws specifically, but I believe it also hindered his accuracy and range. So he refused the armor. Thank you for the kind gesture, but I need to kill this giant. This guy is serious. If I miss, I'm dead. So I must get it in one hit. Now, David knows exactly his strength and his weaknesses, while Goliath also knows exactly his strength, but not his weaknesses. He's a champion, remember? He never lost in the battle, but he never faced off against a slinger. He never actually fight against someone who is not fighting in his fight, which is close combat. David is the first guy that he fight in long range. That's why he's totally unprepared. That's why he said, shepherd boy, come and let me slice you up, right? Come.
But David don't need to come.
Exactly, David don't want to come.
The system is not designed by Goliath.
Exactly, it's a battlefield. Whoever lives wins, right? There is no rule. Exactly. David is a strategist. He knows his strength and he uses it to his advantage to the max. So the innovation of sling is what enables David to actually kill Goliath. And God showed him mercy by giving him a lot of target practice. Remember, he told King Saul that your servant here killed lions and bears. So he got a lot of target practice with serious, dangerous opponent. the beast will kill you if you miss or something. So he is very well trained against vicious opponent.
I think not only one time.
Many times.
In the period
Yeah.
of time, he separate the seed. You always have new strategy how to face the deer and lion.
I know.
In the every situation, because lion and deer also come in the different situation.
Yes, exactly.
So that is
And also suddenly.
Yes, exactly. The ambush predator.
You
Yeah.
don't need to tell you. You
They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know.
No morality,
Yeah. It's an animal. They're beasts.
no
Yeah.
conscience,
Yeah. No conscience. No ethical code.
no ethical.
Yeah. Exactly.
Totally animal.
Exactly. Now, the innovation of range weapon happened since the day a man can pick up stone. Ever since then, man trying to extend the range of fight. You see, from the sling and then bows and arrows that eventually leads to guns. Nowadays, like modern times, you don't see hand-to-hand fight anymore.
I heard some
Everybody
preaching.
got guns and shooting each other
And
up.
some preaching that the power of sling actually is not too big, but because of the God exists.
Oh no. It is
the
lethal.
momentum is or-
No, it is lethal. It
It's
is
really
lethal. It is lethal. So that tests the destructive power of the sling.
is okay.
It's deadly. This is on Discovery Channel. They actually test David and Goliath. Is it real or is it just like fairy tale? Okay. So they have Israel's national champion in sling.
Oh,
Okay, the slinger, he delivered a blow. I forgot how many joule. It's like small. It's like pistol bullet power. Okay.
boom.
So that stone is strong enough, if not to kill Goliath, at least knock him out. At least concussion. It is strong enough to give him serious concussion. That's why he collapsed immediately. David rushed to him, grabbed his sword, and chopped off his head. Because that is his trophy, the head of the enemy. That signifies I win. And that also demoralized the Philistine that everybody ran away. Yeah, that's key point of the head of the enemy. Why? Because it signifies complete winning. I cut off the head, not just the head of the general, but the head of the entire army, because he was their champion.
The strongest.
Yeah, that's the strongest. That's why he's the Philistine champion. That is very big blow to the Philistine army. So basically, David defeat the whole Philistine army by killing just one guy. He effectively demoralized every single soldier of Philistine. Now the key point is David used innovation, the new technology, relatively new at that time, and a different mindset to conquer the giant. Now we can see, like in historically, the biggest changes in the world come from similar mindset. My favorite example is Henry Ford. At his time, the most popular transportation is horse carriage. You got horse, you run carriage. Car was very expensive, handmade, artisan. So it was made once or two every year or so. It's very expensive. It's a wealthy boy toys, basically. It's not for the common folk. Like the regular working people will be lucky if we can afford a horse-drawn carriage. Regular people will walk. Not much. Now, Henry Ford borrowed the idea of a meat processing plant into the conveyor belt. And he have a very different mindset. Instead of creating expensive automobiles for the rich, he made mass production of the similar thing at a very low cost that the common folk can afford it. It's actually cheaper than the horse-drawn carriage and a lot less maintenance. You don't need many horses. They don't poop, they don't eat grass every day. So it's very, very good and cheap to maintain. And reliable too. They don't have temper tantrum, they don't afraid of the lightning. It's a machine. Horses get panic though. Car don't. It's up to you. So it was very, very big change to the world. Until today, we know Henry Ford changed the world. because now everybody wants to have a car, and cars are available to the public. In the past, cars are like Ferraris or Rolls Royce, that kind of thing, which are still until today mostly handmade. Plus the cost is really, really high. So it's always been like, actually a car when Henry Ford started already have like 50, 60 years though, existence. But it's only for the very wealthy ones, because it's all handmade. There is no mass production, there is no standardization, so it's all custom, according to the customer and the artist who built the car. Because of his different mindset and the technology innovation of mass production and the the assembly line, he can mass produce this piece of technology, which was very expensive, becomes very cheap into the common folk. Until today, mass production is still the bloodline of most industry. We are so blessed by mass production. That's why most of the things nowadays are affordable. Telephone, TVs, car, I mean, you name it. It's so affordable because of mass production. If the thing is not mass produced, forget it. The cost will be very high. It will cost time, money, and resources to custom it. Mass production, very different game. So, the real advantage in David against Goliath is not exactly the weapon, but it's the mindset. He thinks differently. I don't get it why there is no other slinger that think about how to defeat Goliath, because I'm pretty positive he's not the only slinger. But then again, they probably got caught up in the heat of the battle. Because these guys are melee combatant, we tend to fight in the same way. Example, Barnes & Noble was a big chain store for books. Nobody can defeat them in their game, which is retail bookstore. Amazon defeat Barnes & Noble with a different mindset, which is opening nothing, 100% online. There is no physical store. Different mindset, also new technology. And just this year, I think, Barnes & Noble announced bankruptcy. They cannot sustain anymore. Nobody buys their book because you can buy it from Amazon much cheaper, and it is delivered next day. So it is what it is. Technology with good innovation and correct mindset will defeat the old way. You can see with Uber and Gojek, they have, yes, the technology, right, the application, the smartphone, but they have the different mindset than traditional taxi transportation. Traditionally, taxi company must have the armada. They must buy their own vehicle and then they operate it. Uber and Gojek uses people's armada. They don't own their own vehicle. Very different mindset. So they have very low cost.
You can see also newspaper store.
Yes.
Long back, very complete.
Yes.
100 magazine or newspaper. But nowadays, newspaper store only few magazine
yes.
and few newspapers.
Yes.
I think maybe in the future they're gonna close it anymore.
It is.
No newspaper store.
Yeah.
Because nothing to share.
Exactly.
Everything is online.
Yes. The news, actually the TV already took a big beating from YouTube. Yeah, traditional TV station lost its massive share because of online media.
And then advertising also
TV
going.
station.
Yeah, TV station already took a serious beating. In America, they lost about 20-30% already.
Because advertising going to online.
People actually prefer to watch YouTube content than the TV station now. The younger generation, at least.
Use YouTube. Also, you can transfer YouTube from your iPhone to TV.
Yeah, can.
So the family can show.
The TV is just for display.
The display.
Yeah.
So
It's a screen. That's it.
The demand will increase about the TV multifunction can receive from you
You see, once upon a time.
smartphone.
It's already.
Yeah.
You can actually
But
already
still
buy it now.
expensive. So you can make a cheaper
Yeah,
product.
but like
No, so everyone can buy. Then the platform is price up.
it is. It's getting cheaper already.
Yes.
It's getting cheaper.
iPhone 2.5 to transfer the people.
Yeah. Now, Apple and Ford have a complete opposite mindset. Ford bring expensive luxury item to the common folk. Apple is the other way around. Bring the normal thing to become status symbol. Interesting, isn't it? iPhone is very expensive, yet people buy it.
Movie also dangerous.
Netflix taking over. They're taking over.
Only you pay 100,000 or 100.
Exactly.
All family can solve it.
Yes.
Don't need to go.
See, the key is idea. Idea dictate the mindset. Yeah. Do you know tire, how our modern pneumatic tire was found? It's John Dunlop. You know Dunlop tire, right? John Dunlop at 1887 saw his son racing a tricycle using massive solid tire, and he kept on falling over, and he cut his own water hose, wrap it around the rim, make a makeshift tire. That's the first pneumatic tire ever. From then, he patented that technology and become our modern tire now. It's the different mindset. Innovation don't have to be like something high tech. Sometimes it just need to be repurposed. Like Ford's assembly line is actually derived from meat product processing plant. If you ever seen the meat processing plant, they hang the cattle on the hook and then they dress it up. They cut the meat and everything, and that thing moving. So they can cut, this is the leg part, and then this is the sirloin, this is the, at the end, it's all cut out. There's a moving lines of hooks. And all the butcher work there at their own station, and they process the meat piece by piece. That's the idea coming from. Instead of using it for food, using for machines to build his car as the first conveyor assembly line. The assembly line keep on moving. The worker work, it move. And then next, and then next, and then next. The worker stay, the product move. Previously, the worker move. So it take a long time because they have to move with their station and everything. This is not, the station stays with their equipment. The product move.
Station stay.
Yeah, the station stay. See that?
What station?
The worker station. Let's say they are tasked with installing the door. Let's say the car door. He stays at that point. The chassis assembly come with the body, no door yet. He install the door and the car moves to the next station.
Oh.
The product move. The worker stay.
The conveyor.
Yeah, exactly. The product move with the conveyor belt. That's the massive assembly line of the Ford.
Worker stay.
Exactly.
Robot also stay.
Nowadays, it is replaced by robots. And we're talking about Ford in like 1880 something, like old times. No robot yet. So everything is human. But he once bragged that he can train any new person for 15 minutes. So that person able to do their job. Ford able to break down the description and the job so easy that anyone can do it. He basically make robot out of human. Break the job so easy until unskilled worker with minimum training can do it. That's truly his strength.
Now the drone technology.
Exactly.
For services, delivery, letter, delivery, the healthcare in the hospital, high-rise building, they will go up. Don't need people.
Exactly.
The emergency call, ambulance is jammed, and then you can fly.
Yes.
Get the medicine.
It will be popular in the future.
Yes.
For sure. It's just like the sling, okay? From the sling.
It's now very popular.
Yeah, exactly.
And the development of the product will be, I think, very multifunction.
It is a very wide field of usage, which is quite amazing. to see the technology, innovation, and everything is amazing. And the key point to world-changing innovation is almost always the person, not the technology itself. How the person use it. Like bows and arrows, okay? Bows and arrows is like thousands of years. It's still bows and arrows, okay? But Chinese people invented gunpowder and use it for fireworks. And they tie the rocket to the arrow. That is why they call it huoqian, fire arrow. Which Chinese still call rocket until today huoqian. It's a very devastating weapon at the time. They have this carb, just like nowadays rocket launcher, with many bamboo pipe, like 100 bamboo pipe. Every pipe is loaded with one arrow and one rocket. So they just light up, all the fuse join together, and you got 100 arrows barrage. Only need like 2 people to operate, instead of 100 archers. See, it's a simple thing, simple innovation. Well, arguably the gunpowder is not simple, but they modify the use. A simple twist, and it becomes very deadly weapon. That is the thing about innovation. It doesn't have to be big. It has to be right. If it applied correctly and skillfully, it brings tremendous change. Very big change. That is what leads the victory of David against Goliath. As a skillful application of the sling. It was popular as like small game hunting, fend off predator against the cattle, but that's about it. There is not yet a strategic use of slinger in battlefield at the time. David basically is the first person who introduced, hey, come on, with this weapon, we can defeat the biggest, strongest enemy. You don't need to be as big, as strong as them. Just need to aim right, aim accurately. This is very important in nowadays time, especially with the internet and everything. With the right idea, the right application, that will give us enormous advantage.
The basic principle of gun.
Exactly. Range weapon. Gunpowder, instead of tying the rocket to the arrow, they use the explosive inside the chamber and throw projectile out.
The accuracy, everything.
Accuracy came later, but the idea first came. That's the difference. By not putting the rocket with the arrow at the same, like just launching the arrow, they created a very different system to throw the projectile with the gunpowder itself. And that is the birthplace of guns, rifles, and cannons, which is what we use now in the military today. Standard basic weapon for any military in the world. That brings all the change. Gunpowder, that brings the biggest change. Once gunpowder is introduced to the battlefield, nobody carries sword anymore. And the use of armor practically gone, because there is no armor strong enough to stop the bullet at the time. Even nowadays, like the bulletproof vest can only stop so much. It's not like totally bulletproof. If you got higher caliber, higher power, or several blows, it will penetrate the bulletproof vest. It's like skillful application of the technology. Just like Uber and Gojek, how they rule the market. Simple twist of the existing technology. But with the very precise application, it becomes winner. That's what wins the business nowadays. Amazing idea. Okay, that's all for the material. Now